Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay. Familiar faces here on the side. George?
Yep.
Thank you for finally answering the call. So anyway, this is the first week of several weeks. I'll just let you know how many weeks at some point in my talk. And I usually start with a story, or I should say a joke before I start my teachings. There was a large group of men. Have a seat. Right? Don't start talking if people are standing. It's free. Later on we charge. Sit down, sit down. There's enough seats. There's two more. Several here, I brushed my teeth earlier, so we're good. So anyway, a large group of men arrived in heaven. A large group, big group of men. And so God appeared and said to them, I don't know if you heard about this, but if you do, then it's the second time or third time you heard this. He said, I want all men to form two lines. Okay? The left line will be the men who were dominated by their wives. And on the right line will be the women, who will be the men who were the true heads of their households. Okay? So they started piling up, they started lining up, and the line of the men who were dominated by their wives was just seemingly so long. It was almost like a mile long. Men dominated by their wives. And then on the line where they were true heads of their household, there was only one. There was only one person standing there. And so God said to those on the left, where the line was just seemingly long, He said, you men ought to be ashamed of yourselves. I appointed you to be heads of your household. Thank you. And you were disobedient and did not fulfill the purpose that I asked you to do. And so all of you listen. I'm going to ask this man that obeyed me, so you better learn from him. And so God turned to the only man who was standing on that line, and he asked him, how did you come into this line? And then the man said, my wife asked me to stand here.
That's the one.
Okay, I don't know how you got here today, if your wife told you to come here or however. There we go. Sounds like that. Well, hey, it's a good thing. Put it this way, it's a good thing. God uses people, wives, to bring us here. The good thing about this is I'm not selling anything to you, I'm just selling the Lord to you. So what, you ask yourself, why come here? You know, why be here? I mean, you could have done a lot of things today. You could have, I don't know, went shopping, sleep, watch a movie, or watching the Dodger games, but you're here. God brought you here for a purpose. That on this exact day, which is August 19th, He's going to bring you here in St. Genevieve's. What's the classroom we are? We're room 5, whatever, one of the classrooms. You will be here listening to His words, not my words, because what I'm speaking is God's words. And so, one of the reason why we come to this as a community, because all of us struggle in life in some shape or form. I mean, all of us are being harassed by the devil, as you know. And in one of Pope Francis' message, he said that the family, which is the basic unit of society, as you know, is being threatened and attacked. And we know that. I mean, just look around what's going on in the media and the TV. Pastor Rick Warren of Saddleback Church here in California shared a list of what is threatening our families. And this is what he said, and I quote. He put it very nicely. He said, today in our culture, materialism is idolized. Immorality is glamorized. Truth is minimized. Sin is normalized. Divorce is rationalized. And abortion is legalized. In TV, crime is sensationalized. Drugs are legitimized. Comedy is vulgarized. And sex is trivialized. There's a lot of nice text. In movies, the Bible is what? The Bible is fictionalized. The church is satirized. I don't know where it goes with this word. God is marginalized and Christians are demonized. In society today, the elderly are dehumanized. The sick is euthanized. The poor is victimized. The mentally ill are ostracized. The immigrants are stigmatized. And the children are tranquilized. In our family, we live in a world where manners are uncivilized. Speech is vulgarized. Education is secularized. Advertising is centralized. And everything is commercialized. And unfortunately, we as Christians are often what? We're disorganized in some shape or form. We are demoralized. Our faith is so compartmentalized. And our witness to the gospel is compromised. When you've just listened to this is literally what is going on around us right now. Whether you like it or not. You can close your eyes on it, you can close your ears on it, but it is the reality that we face nowadays. There is a serious disorder out there right now. There's war. I mean, the Middle East war has been going on for what? For many years. Not only that, even here in the U.S., there's poverty all over. So there's starvation in different parts of the world. There is social injustice. You know what they usually call before, they used to call before, if you're not married sacramentally, that we call them, or we term this, living in sin, right? Because you're not married sacramentally in church. Now what they did, they took the sin away from that word. So now it just becomes living in. I mean, it's nice to hear, but it's really not. Because in reality, if you're not married in church, then you're really living in sin. The divorce rate, my brothers and sisters, is at 60% or probably even more nowadays. Because of what? Because of non-commitment between husbands and wives. Sometimes people just go into a marriage, it's like a trial and error. If it doesn't work, then separate. Find another one. It's just as easy as that nowadays. Now even worse, same-sex marriage. By God's grace, don't call it marriage. Don't call it marriage, for marriage was created by God. And marriage is between man and a woman. It's not between man and man, woman and woman. God created Adam and Eve. God did not create Adam and Steve to start with, okay? Man and woman. So if people are really fighting for the same-sex marriage, please don't call it marriage. Just call it a union, call it a partnership. Because marriage was created by God. Same-sex marriage is never going to be part of God's plan. I mean, how confusing it is for children to come into a family and seeing both his parents of the same sex. And they call themselves a family. What a confusing world we are living in. There's murder out there, day in and day out. But let me go through this in a different sense when it comes to murder. The most despicable one is abortion. Abortion resulting in the killing of millions of babies. I would not term it babies, human beings. Didn't you know that since 1980, there were 1.5 billion babies or human beings killed? 1.5 billion. That's a lot. That is a lot. Don't you know that there's an average of 80 abortions per minute? 80 abortions per minute. Now, if I've been talking for the last 5 minutes, 400 people were already murdered. Now, if I continue on and finish this in an hour, 4,800 killed in an hour. And the worst part is, these babies didn't have a chance to fight for their lives. What an evil world we are facing. What a difficult world we are facing. Now, looking at it on a personal level, I was just talking about society. There's a lot of things going on personally. There's loneliness, there's depression, fear, anxiety. A lot of people taking their lives because they cannot no longer take what's going on in their lives. Here's the thing too, brothers and sisters. We don't give time for God. We become workaholics, isn't it? Now, if God added another hour to your 24-hour day, what would you do with the extra hour? Are you with me? Or you're looking at me or you're half asleep? What are you doing with the extra hour? Are you going to sleep? Are you going to watch a movie, read a book, or worship God, or work one more hour? I mean, here's some questions if you are a workaholic. I almost said if you're an alcoholic. No, if you're a workaholic. Are you always in a hurry in life? Is your to-do list on a daily basis, is that long? Do you use days off to catch up for work? Or has anybody asked you, or more person asked you, hey, slow down, take it easy, smell the roses? Do you feel guilty when you relax? There's some people are like that. They just have to do something all the time. And relaxing for them, yeah, it's different. It's not. They have to do something all the time. Or do you have to get sick to get time off? Well, brothers and sisters, this is not the kind of life that God wants us to live. In Psalms 127, verse 22, he said, it is senseless for you to work so hard from early morning until late at night. God wants His loved ones to get their proper rest. God wants us to have a balanced lifestyle. A balanced lifestyle. God created us to enjoy His creation. Simple living. But here we are. We just, I don't know what. I mean, here we are. We just got sucked into this very materialistic world that we are living in right now. We have these beautiful homes, and nobody is in that homes because people are working to pay for the home. People spend more time in an office. Most of the time don't have even time for their children. So what? So we can buy things that we don't really need with money that we don't even have. Even to try to impress somebody that we don't even like. I mean, think about it. It's like keeping up with the Joneses. See, it's better to just have a little, my brothers and sisters, but have that peace of mind. Have that peace of mind. And to be busy all the time. In Exodus 29:10, God said, you have 6 days to do your work. But the 7th day is a day of rest. I mean, God Himself created the world in what? In 6 days. But on the 7th day, He rested. Why are Christians behaving like this in the modern world, you may ask? Now, superficially, one may point to economic hard times as the reason. When times are hard, people look for concrete things which can help them. And sometimes they even take shortcuts in doing things just to get it done. And sometimes to even compromise their faith. Well, please be reminded that in whatever you do in life, people may not be watching what you're doing, but God knows. God knows. I mean, just think about it. If you're just there by yourself and you're about to do something, whatever stupid or whatever thing you're going to do, like, hey, who's watching? Yeah, you can get away with people not watching, but you're going to get away from God. This is always there. He always watches us so that in that wrong that we do, He will help us to make it right for us. Not to condemn us because God loves us. Other point to sociological reasons, right? They said, well, it's okay, everybody's doing it anyways. So I don't think there's a problem with it, right? We tend to justify things. In society today, there's really lack of objective norms between right and wrong. Right? We are in this moral relativism that doesn't hurt me, it's fine. Go ahead. Whereas we saw before throughout history, if you read scriptures, especially for the early Christians did not even hesitate to trade off their Christian values, even to face imprisonment and even being thrown to the lions den, or even to the fiery furnace. You know, during my talk, I always try to give a lot of stories because I think for me, it helps me relate to people when, I give some stories. So there was this priest, he was at this confessional box, and suddenly this man came in. He had a bloody knife on his hand. And he went to the priest and I said, Father, I want to go to confession. And the priest said, well, what did you do? He said, I just killed the person now. And I said, why? And then the guy said, well, it always irritates me, my blood boils up when I know that the person believes in God. It always boils me up. And then the priest asked, and then the guy asked the priest, so Father, do you believe in God? And then the priest said, well, earlier I did, but now no more. Well, sometimes put us on a corner, we give up. We just say, I have nothing to do with that, or you're on your own. That's not what God wants us to do. What is right is right, what is wrong is wrong. We are